Hello, hi, what's up everyone? It's me, Karen, your favorite booktuber, and dare I say it, it has been a minute. I feel as if I'm getting into the habit of saying it has been a minute in most of my videos these last couple of weeks, but I don't know, I just haven't been in the mood to film. I'd like to be like, oh yeah, I've been living a really grand and exciting life outside of YouTube, and that's why I've been amiss from A, posting videos, but also B, watching the videos of my friends. I have no idea what's happening in your guys' lives. I hope all is well. And yeah, I'm kind of hoping that maybe I can get back into it, but if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I haven't even filmed my June reading wrap up, and the prospect of it is just scary. But before we delve more into my, I don't know, YouTube hangups, if you would, I thought maybe I could do a report style video. They're a great way to ease back into things, maybe. Anyways, as I mentioned, each time I do one of these videos, report popped off on TikTok. It is the word report, and each letter means something. So the first letter of that word happens to be R. R stands for reading. And in the last few weeks, I have been going hard on fantasy, i.e. last week I read 1,200 pages of a fantasy series in 3, maybe 4 days. Like, I was in it. I don't know what was going on. I mean, I kind of do, but whatever. Anyways, that series that I was reading was called The Kindred's Curse. It's all right. I mean, it's really fun for what it is, but at the same time, I think it is very reminiscent of the Throne of Glass series, and I'll speak more about it if I ever get around to filming a reading wrap-up. But as I've been reading this fantasy stuff, The Kindred Curse, and other baloney stuff like that, I've also stumbled across Laurie Colwin, and I read 4 out of 5 of her novels in the month of June. I probably will finish the 5th one in the next couple of days, so I can say that I read all 5 of her novels. Laurie Colwin is an author from the 70s and 80s. She died in 1992, I believe, of a brain aneurysm at the age of maybe 42, something like that, 46 possibly, quite young. And she also, alongside writing novels, wrote a lot of short fiction. She wrote essays and did a lot of food writing. Home Cooking is a collection of essays that she's quite known for. And these books, which were recently, I believe, republished in 2021, possibly, have some really silly covers. Like, they're not the most compelling of covers, but she writes really well. And I do think some people could, you know, poo-poo on her writing and just be like, oh, she writes chick lit or like romance novels. But I do think that there is something more going on, because yes, these are books about predominantly the upper middle class, upper class people who have no financial precarity. They are completely divorced from financial uncertainty. They live their life in New York City. They are either Protestant or Catholic. If we're really wild, maybe a character is Jewish. And they are living their life. They often attend dinner parties, or maybe they're really against dinner parties, but you know, they have an active social life. Some of them are involved in philanthropic endeavors, and they're young, in their late 20s at the youngest, and most of them are actually, I would say, in their 30s to 40s, and they are experiencing romantic problems. These are books in which affairs occur, and they're almost like, I think an affair occurs in half the books, and there's a way in which, though some people would say, I read an interview or like a conversation about her work where someone was like, Laurie Colwin's books all end in happy endings, but they're not exactly happy endings, is my sort of response to that, because you have an ending, you could possibly read it as happy, but more often than not, I think they're very neutral endings that are rather open-ended, in the same way that the only Sally Rooney book that I read, Conversations with Friends, has an ending that's kind of like, yes, spoiler, the main guy and girl are still gonna go at it, but we're kind of left with the feeling that maybe they shouldn't, but you know, a win is a win, I guess you could say. And like, you want to see a toxic couple win sometimes, and they do in that case. That's a tangent almost, but yeah, these books, I started off with this one. This is the one that I think most people recommend. I personally thought this one was a tiny bit of a snooze fest, but I kept on thinking about it. Or not even I kept on thinking about it. I went to the bookstore and I saw more of her books, and I was like, you know what, let me give another one a go. And so I picked up this one, which is definitely way more my speed. It is a little bit shorter than this one. This one is about two cousins, Vincent and some other male name, and they both find themselves finding the love of their life and kind of thinking that maybe love causes as many problems as it does enhance their life. In this one, we have two people who are having an affair and going on with their affair, and it's kind of just a question of like, I think a lot of what Laurie Colwin's books are doing are showing how you can love more than one person at the same time, or that like love is way more complicated and nuanced than we often think it is. In this one, it is about a woman whose family like takes advantage of her, and it is only in her affair that she is able to kind of, she's experiencing a midlife crisis, and it's through the affair that she's able to conceive of a life separate from her family's expectations. In this one, this is the penultimate novel that she wrote, and it is it's not very different because it does end up being about a woman who ends up having an affair at one point, but it is different in the sense that this one grapples with race in a way that the other books really don't, and grapple is doing a lot of the heavy lifting there because there's not a whole lot of grappling that occurs with race, at least in these novels. But yeah, I don't know. I've been talking a lot about these. They're very much so, they remind me of Annie Hall, and I think they've been very fun to read. There's some good sentences. This author, because she was a food writer, she has like a really wonderful relationship with food writing. So there's some wonderful descriptions of food. But yeah, this has just been fun and has added a lot to my summer. That is most of what I've been reading. In terms of eating, I've been eating a lot of mussels. I love mussels. They're one of my favorite things to eat. Mussels in white sauce, mussels in a red sauce, mussels in a coconut sauce. Like, I'm down for it all. So I've been eating a lot of mussels. I've also been having shakshuka like once or twice a week. And at the same time as I'm saying that, I've also been eating a lot of toast. Just toast with a lot of butter. I really like that Irish butter. That's the only butter I use. That's it. I won't touch anything else. I won't touch any other butter unless it's what butter is it? Has green. I'll put the photo. It's so annoying having to put the photo, but I'll do it because, you know, one must. After that, we have P for playing, and I feel as if, okay, I don't know if I mention this each time, who knows, I'm not an active pursuer of new music, or music is not my forte, and I don't think that we've had a lot of new music this summer. I have mostly been listening to, most recently, having said that there is no music, I'm going to now talk about new music, JK and True School. This is only for people who listen to Punjabi music. If you don't listen to Punjabi music, it really means much of nothing. Put out a new EP with 4 songs, I believe, and I think they're bangers. They're really good. I kind of love everything that JK and True School do, and these singles, or like as a whole little EP situation. I don't even know what EP stands for. Anyways, they're quite good, really strong. I enjoy listening to them. I love being in the car, listening to my tunes, window down, wind blowing, living my crazy life. And what else? Yeah, so that I've also been listening to obsessively an older song, The Last Ride by Sidhu Moosewala, and also I didn't watch the movie Animal, but that main song in there, the Arjun song, that's on repeat. Like, one day I sat down and I kept on watching that music video over and over and over again. Like, I was in the zone. And then I was on TikTok and I found this British girl who I then started following on Instagram, but she introduced me to the song Nice to don't know what I wrote. Nice to Each Other by Olivia Dean, which is a very chill, easygoing song that I've been sprinkling in amongst all of this Punjabi music. And then O is the next letter in the word report. And we have O for obsessed. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this has been a summer in which I have been obsessed with Love Island UK. I have never watched Love Island the US version because I'm quite enamored and endeared and attached to the UK version. And this season, as some people on Reddit have pointed out, should be called Hate Island. There has been a lot of drama, a lot of intrigue. This has been a rather unique season because unlike previous seasons, no love has been found there. There are no strong connections. I don't know what's been going on there, but it's been really fascinating. There have been some episodes that have been really hard watches in that I have felt depressed, dismayed, wanted to cry alongside the Islanders. I have been going on an emotional journey, and I find reality television is something that some people can be quite, they get on their high horse about. I'm so much better than other people who watch reality television, blah, blah, blah. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And reality television does deliver on that front. And I'm mentioning that I am obsessed with it because beyond just watching the episode, I am spending a lot of time on Reddit, seeing what other people are saying about it. I'm not posting, I am reading, long time lurker over here. And it's really fascinating to see the ways in which people are engaging with Love Island. Like on one hand, you can watch this show and you can do a lot of analysis of what we're seeing of these interpersonal relationships and the different personality types that one encounters. And I think that often one of the reasons why I love Love Island UK is that there is a race and class analysis that occurs when one is watching this show. And so you have all of that layered nuance, and then you go to Reddit and you see what people are saying on that front and how possibly what conversation and discourse is occurring on Reddit is possibly different than what's happening on Facebook and TikTok and Twitter. And I have not been partaking in those other three platforms because, thank God, my TikTok has not been overtaken by everything LI, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's just interesting because then you see what other people are perceiving of the show and how they have different takes than you, and some of these takes are quite one note or very different, or you're kind of just like, wow, it really does take all kinds. And yeah, so that's been a lot of, I was gonna say the word fun, but I don't know if that's quite right because I am ready for this season to come to an end, for me to move on with my life. I think after I finish Love Island, I'm gonna watch that show that's on Netflix. Actually, there's two. Maybe you guys can help me. One is that woman who is a therapist. I don't know what her name is, but she does couples therapy. I think that would be like a good sort of continuation of this Love Island relationship, my desire to read about marriage and divorce and analyzing people's relationships. I think that would be a good contender, whatever that show is called. Then the second one I'm thinking of watching, I don't really know anything about anime. And I have tried somewhat in the past, not very fervently, to watch some. And I don't know, it's never really clicked. I haven't gotten past 10 minutes into a show. And I'm thinking, I don't know, I want to know more. But I was thinking of maybe watching Demon Slayer because I was watching this girl's vlog from like 2 years ago, and she was talking about how she's watched a whole bunch and that was one that she liked. And I don't know, let me know, what are your recommendations on that front? And then I think we're getting to the end of the word report. The final letter just so happens to be, wait, are we? No, I've skipped 2 letters. Okay, so O was for obsessed, R is for recommending. I am recommending, I don't know. Sometimes, what can one recommend? I haven't been recommending anything to anyone. I would like to recommend everyone, myself especially, take a break from social media, which in some regards I have been doing by watching less YouTube, but I've been doing a lot of looking at my phone, refreshing my emails, I don't have notifications on my cell phone because supposedly that helps you not look at your phone, but instead I find that I end up opening up the app to maybe hope that some sort of magical, wonderful, life-changing email will just enter my inbox, and I'll get a rush of excitement and the thrill of possibilities. But that doesn't occur. Instead, I just get a lot of junk email and the occasional important email. So that, yeah, spend less time on your phone. Sorry, I don't have a more exciting recommendation for you. And then the final letter, I believe, is T for treating. And I also find this, like the last two letters, I find to be so hard. What have I been treating myself with? Yeah, I don't know. I think some days I've been having a second coffee. Did I say this last time as well? I don't know. I'd like to quit coffee before the end of the year. I'd like to do that again. So I think that would be my treat to myself. I'm going to actually cut things out of my life. That's my treat. Discipline is its own sort of, treat. Anyways, that's that. I would love to hear from you with your own report. Sound off in the comments. Let me know what's good, what's happening, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.